First of all, welcome to the channel and thank you for stopping by. Welcome to Comment Catch Up, where I catch up on your comments. They come in pretty quickly. Thank you very much. And I am just here to make an effort to catch up and give you my responses. Let's take a look at what we have. Today, we're going to start with Dave Verbal Widget, referring to my I hate riding in the dark video. And I do hate riding in the dark. Night is sometimes a necessary evil. Critters, chunks of tires in the road are my biggest concern. Have to have a positive name for the bike. Hope you and Lucky have a good ride. Dave's referring to the full name of my 790 Adventure R is Adventure Lemon, or Lemon for short. I'm not ready to change it to Lucky yet, Dave. Our next comment is from Pilot Dane. Obi-Wan says, "Cool, Frank. I don't ride at night either unless I have to. A spin around the hood doesn't count. I will say traffic was very light though. Cheers. Did you ever get your prize? Remember, I don't get any emails from YouTube." All right, so first thing is I agree. I also ride when I have to. A spin around the hood for me, I live in the suburbs. I know you're a bit of a community, but where I live, as soon as I leave the main strip I live on, there are deer. So I don't even take a trip around town at night. There's no way to go more than 150 feet without getting into deer country. Though technically I could hit a deer in the backyard as they're frequently eating out there. Now, Dane is asking if I got my prize. And Dane, I did get my prize. I'm giving it some thought, and then I think I'm going to do a video. So look for that in the very near future. In fact, it may come out before this video. Okay, now Lemon, a KTM 790 adventure story. Don Parker 1823 comments, "I have a 2020 790 Adventure S with 14,000 miles. So far, no issues at all. I'm getting close to 58 miles per gallon. I'm not making that up. And the power is the same as the day I bought it. I don't know why I'm not having issues. I'm happy with the power band and the ergonomics. I did put 1-inch risers on the handlebars as my shoulders and back started hurting during long periods standing on the pegs. The risers really helped. I'm sorry you're having these issues." Hey, Don, I appreciate that very thoughtful post. Now, I'm going to depress you, or perhaps depress you. It's great to hear that your bike is running as well as the day you bought it. And I'm going to tell you, when my cams needed to be changed at almost 16,000 miles, it was also running like a new bike. And I think that's something that should be mentioned. Just because a KTM 790 Adventure or 890 Adventure is having bad cams, the bad cams is wearing and scoring. Now, there are some people that they've worn and scored so badly that they've chipped away the metal and there's been an actual noticeable effect on the bike. Most people, however, myself included, we had damage. It was noticeable. It was to the point where KTM said it needed to be replaced. It did not, however, affect the performance of the bike. He put 1-inch risers on the handlebars. Now, I have short legs, so I do not have risers on my handlebars, but I will say most people I've seen ride the bike, I've ridden, I think 4 or 5 other guys' bikes. They all did risers. So I think that's a really common mod, and people with longer legs than my little 29 to 30-inch legs, they need those. All right, we're going back to I Hate Riding in the Dark with John's 1148. John's, I see lots of your comments. I appreciate it. Thank you. Brings back a lot of memories when I was in the military. Did this kind of riding often, and it was a great time of my life. Well, Johns, thank you for your service, and I'm sorry you had to ride at night, but I'm glad you have fond memories of that time of your life. But these days, now that you're older, you're out of the military, do you ride at night, or is it just something you do occasionally? I do have one friend that rides to work in the morning in the dark every day. I don't know how he does it. It's randomly trees. I love to watch the videos. My fear or apprehension at riding in the dark is certainly not shared with everyone. Okay, we're going to go with, well, next couple are all going to be on riding in the dark. We're going with Baron Moody 4416. Enjoy Tennessee. It's gorgeous. I live on the other side of town from you. Maybe I'll see you out on the roads next summer. Safe travels and have fun. Baron, I think I sent you an email, and if I didn't, or I asked you to send me an email, oneoldmanriding@gmail.com. I would absolutely like to have a riding buddy in the area. I've got some great guys over in North Carolina I've had the opportunity to ride with, but where I am, and I guess where you are, if we're on the other side of town, everybody rides a Harley. My neighbor has a Harley. Every bike I pass is a Harley. Sometimes I get the feeling that there's only two people in town that have adventure bikes, me and the guy with the KLR 650. Absolutely let me know if you are the KLR 650 guy, because that means you ran into my buddy Patrick. All right. Michael 6002, smart man. Short and sweet, Michael. That's absolutely right. The smart guy doesn't ride at night. We've got a comment from Rob Parallel Camper. If you like to see DR650 content or like to see Gixxer, I think it's an 1100 content, go take a look at Rob. Rob lives in an absolutely stunning area of California. The views from his camera make me want to go to California so badly, just to ride through those canyons and look at the views. And we've got Obi-Wan's commenting on him and Verbal Widget. Moto Ramblings. I think he's a friend of Roger at Riding the Thin Lines. He might have a channel. Okay, moving on, or should say back to Lemon, a KTM 790 adventure story. We've got Len Lockmiller. I think I got that close. If not, Len, I'm sorry. You're so kind. So enjoyed your video. Heartfelt bummed for your experience, and you are definitely one that deserved better. Hope good karma catches up with you. Len, that is incredibly kind, and I appreciate it. And I would like to say that Len is an indication of the vast majority of my community. I do my best not to be bitter. I do my best to put on a smiling face and enjoy Lemon. And I've got to say that people have been incredibly gracious and kind and empathetic about the fact that I may have spent a lot of money on a motorcycle that is perhaps not as good as it should have been for that price. And I appreciate all of you that have something kind to say. And those of you that have also reached out that have similar problems, my sincere empathy and sympathy to you. Good luck, guys. Hey, old video. This is my 390 Adventure VMX tubeless wheels review. And when I reviewed this, I had actually had a problem with the VMX wheels. If you watch this video, I'm going to mention that I have a bearing problem in the left, or sorry, on the left side of the rear wheel. And that was easy to fix. I think it was $16 in parts from Amazon. And my recommendation to anyone who buys VMX wheels is to take my buddy Javi's suggestion to me that I didn't. And he said, they're going to be cheap Chinese bearings. Just buy new bearings and put them in before you use them. I looked at the bearings. I thought they were fine. As you could tell by watching this video, they were not fine. And I did replace the bearings in the front and the back the way Javi told me I should. Okay, Carlsbad Adventure Jacket. The most expensive thing I've purchased. Did a video on it. Had a few things to say. JG Traveler. Great review. Purchased one earlier this year at a discount. My only issue is I wish the collar was a bit higher and more snug around the neck. This is my favorite motorcycle purchase that's not a motorcycle. This is my most expensive purchase that's not a motorcycle, that being my Carlsbad jacket. I agree 100% that the collar could be both higher and tighter. I think I mentioned in that video, and I've mentioned certainly to friends when they ask me about the Carlsbad jacket, that the only time I get wet is when the rain comes in the back of the collar. And that is because the collar sticks out a little farther than you would want, and it doesn't come up quite close enough to the helmet. So if you get just the right angle of rainfall, you get a little bit of water in there, and I really wish you didn't. And as the gentleman here said, Little higher with that collar climb. Come on. I mean, if you make a higher collar version, you could throw $100 on the price. I'm sure people will pay it. Okay, this is one of the more fun videos I did. This was comparing my 390 and my 790. And the reason I did that is I am a moderator on the largest 390 Facebook group, and I was at one point a frequent commenter on the largest 790 Facebook group. And I noticed in both groups, if you ride a small ADV bike, there's a lot of people that have not nice things to say about the bigger bikes. And if you ride a bigger ADV bike, not many people at all had anything nice to say about small bike riders. So one day I just decided I'm going to do a video as someone who owns and literally enjoys both. So Matt P9029 says, looking at the 2024 new, love the features of the 390 at the price point. Matt, I can recommend the 2024. Absolutely. It's a nice bike. I'd look for used first because the pricing will be crazy. But if you want to buy new, I know the pricing even on leftover 2024s is not bad at all. And next we have TC Dual Sport. Dude, the Kawasaki KL500 is going to be the bike to get. Check out the full reveal 10/24/25. Forget the KTM blank show. Hey, TC, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I do think that the 390 Adventure R in this video and the KLE 500, now that I have seen the full reveal and seen a lot of information on the bike, they're two very different bikes. When the 390 Adventure came out in 2020, there were 50% of the people were like, oh my God, it's a small adventure bike. This is awesome. But the other 50% of the people were, why isn't this thing more of a dirt bike? And KTM took that to heart. And we have the 2025 390 Adventure R, which is much more leaning towards the dirt bike than it is the adventure bike. So if you're looking for a small adventure bike, I think the KLE 500 looks like it's going to be great. But with that ground clearance and with that extra weight and with the suspension, I don't really think it's in the same category as the 390 Adventure R. But if you want comfort and you want to ride on the road to get where you're going, I don't think the 390 is going to match the KLE for that sort of riding. So non-committal, but I think they're both good bikes depending on what you want to do with them. All right, we're going to make this our last one. This is also on the $9,500 for this 390 Adventure ride from Mr. Francisco. Just like you, having a 390 Adventure and an 890 Adventure R, the new 390 Adventure R may not be the right bike to add to the quiver. I'm not as tall as well, I think just like you. Yes. The 390 Adventure X with an inch lower seat height with its improved ground clearance versus the old 390A and suspension looks like a good option instead. Mr. Francisco is someone I follow on Instagram and I do enjoy his content. He has nicely farkled out both his 390 and his 890. And I agree. I think that if you have a 390 and you have a 790 or 890, the Adventure R doesn't really make sense. It's not a direct replacement for the 390. It's, as I mentioned in the previous comment, more of a dirt bikey style. And I agree with you on the X. I think the X is a great bike at a great price. However, they make the bike that we need here in the United States. It's called the 390 Adventure R. Sorry, it's called the new 390 Adventure. Not the R, not the X, and it's only available, as far as I know, in India. And it has a 2117 lower seat height, tubeless wheels, and I'm so irked that that bike is not available here in the United States because I would have been much more likely to buy the slightly less dirt bike model that has all of the electronics, cruise control module the X does not have, and has tubeless wheels like the R doesn't have. And it's disappointing that it's not for sale here. I think it's an incredibly bad decision by Bajaj, and I'm hoping it is rectified, because right now, if someone were to steal my 390 Adventure, I don't know what I would replace it with, but I'm 90% sure, unless there was a smoking deal on Facebook, it would not be with a 390 Adventure R. It's not the same bike for the same market, and I would have to look long and hard to replace it. All right. As always, I appreciate everyone's comments. I cannot say that enough. I sound like a broken record, but I do truly appreciate them. I read every single comment and I do my best to reply to them. And now I have an entire series of making sure I do a better job of replying. So be patient. Know that if you comment, I'm grateful and I absolutely read it. I probably talked to my friends about it, and I will do my best to respond. All right. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate it, and take care.